Today, we're going to talk some about blowers, but in a little bit different way. We're going to talk about tradition, performance, or efficiency. These are considerations for blower selection. We're going to try to dive into which of these three is most important, or maybe all three, in the efforts of deciding which blower is best for our projects. Let's start with tradition. I think this is kind of human nature. If you have something that's already existing in the plant or something which you're familiar with, these are what we call your traditional blowers. I mean, these things have been around for many years, and for many facilities, the blowers have been installed and working. Plant personnel are used to them. They've come to the point to know their workings, their ins and outs. Maybe they have repair schedules already put in place and the finances all ready for it, and the plant is humming along. So if they're coming to a point where they need to do an upgrade or an expansion, often, tradition is something which can drive the blower selection for that new plant upgrade. And, many times this is easy to do because the specification already exists for the facility. Also, they are comfortable with the equipment, and they kind of know what the pricing is going to be based upon their experience with those machines. So tradition can be a driving force in deciding which blowers will be selected for a new job. But as we'll see as we progress along, that sometimes these blowers, while they are all these things that we've discussed and are noted here on the slide, they're not necessarily the best selection moving forward. The blower industry has come a long way in recent years, and depending upon when the last time your plant upgrade was, there could be new machines out there or new technologies out there to consider. That kind of brings us to performance. So performance is something I think it's a bit difficult to put all of our fingers on. And I think it kind of means something different to each of us. But essentially, we're trying to get some equipment which satisfies the needs and adheres to the project requirements. And with these requirements, we're also evolving in this world about what those requirements were. So if you have an older system, those traditional blowers may not meet the needs as we move forward. And I think that this mainly speaks to integration of what we're finding in these newer plants. Integration has really kind of become a driving force, and having a piece of equipment which is ready to be integrated and they can connect to the system and really take you forward in the future. Performance and this is kind of a driving force in some selections of the new equipment. So many of these things that we have here on the screen are important. They can be easy installed to integrate, able to manage and control your process. Often we talk about a factory support after the fact. So these machines, as we know, are going to be there for many years. So what sort of support are we going to have after the fact? We talk about integration. That's where we're talking about real-time feedback. What sort of information we can get back to our blowers, not just from a performance standpoint, but maybe maintenance and control aspects. So all this information will come back to us. And a newer term, which is kind of taking over, is wire-to-water dollars. Which machine is the best performer, and are these metrics of wire to dollars? And then we're trying to find one that is the best value for a site. So performance can take on many aspects, many considerations for a facility. We've outlined a few here. This is kind of the new world that we're finding, and trying to find that machine which gives the performance that the upgrade or the new facility needs beyond maybe what we've had in the past in the form of what our traditional setup could be. The next one we always talk about is efficiency. So I think last year when I did this presentation, I put this graph up as well. I think it's important to revisit again. Isentropic efficiency is a metric for gauging how efficient a machine's compression process is. Factors in flow and pressure ratios and overall performance. And if we take a look at what we have kind of labeled as our traditional blowers, your rotary lobe and multi-stage, I mean, these machines are everywhere out there. They're all those things we talk about from tradition standpoint, but from efficiency standpoint, yeah, they're falling behind. And this newer technologies, rotary screw and high-speed turbos, are really offering us the big step forward in performance out in the form of efficiency. So as we move forward in the selection process, understanding efficiency and what we want out of the process is important. And if we're thinking about going a traditional route, I think looking at this efficiency standpoint is a critical element in understanding perhaps the direction we want to take this project. So what is most important? For many, it is tradition. This meets the process requirements, operator friendly, and we've been working with these machines for many years. We kind of know what the pricing is going to be. So this is, for many, go with what you know. It does the job. You can be happy with that, and moving forward with the traditional setup is something which can be driving. For others, it's performance. We come into many customers who just want the biggest and baddest thing out there, the latest and greatest. They saw them with their neighbor's house, at their neighbor's facility, and they want that. So for many others, it's performance. And the last one we're talking about is efficiency. We saw the graph a minute ago. What are the numbers? What's going to be the lowest operating cost? Is that always the best? And I think that, as we'll consider, that is not always the best. And sometimes to make those best selections, we have to understand all three. So can we have all three? Sure, you can. But I think the single most important thing in this whole discussion is to understand your process. Your process will often drive you into the direction of the equipment that you think is best and is needed for you. If it's, these new machines with their high performance and integration are great. But if it's a process which is only running intermittent for a little while, this may not be the best selection. Remember that you have to have the more running hours. That's whenever the efficiency is going to really to come to the forefront and be what's driving us. And we have to remember that these things are going to be there for 10 to 20 years or maybe even longer. So what do we expect this facility to look like in the future? Also, do your homework. I think this is an important aspect, and we often talk about this with our customers, is that to visit trade shows. Yes, coming to something like this is absolutely important. You get to see and hear from all different manufacturers and producers and have them talk about their equipment, but also getting out into the shows and seeing and touching and feeling and getting a sense of these machines is important. Also, talk to other operators, talk to your neighbors. What do they have? What do they like about their equipment? What do they not like about their equipment? What sort of support are they getting from the groups who they bought them from? I think this is a critical aspect as well. And of course, the last thing is, once you make your decision for what you want, adjust your specification. So yes, you had this equipment in the past. You pull out your old specification. If you want something different that's in there, adjust your specification to match what it is that you want. Many times, if the specification isn't updated or if it's a bit disjointed and mixed with old and new or different aspects of a mixture of specifications, then you end up with this specification which is really hard to adhere to, and it really puts your contractor in a bind as far as what they're able to go out and source for you. So I think that making sure your language and your specification matches exactly what you want is a critical aspect in this process. Okay, so where does that leave us? The blower market is full of different technologies. We talked about this last year, and also we saw the efficiencies. There's different technologies out there and different processes, so we have to work hard to understand our process to match the equipment that is needed. Sometimes the most efficient machine isn't necessarily the best selection for you, so understanding your process and these different technologies and how you're going to select them is a critical aspect of it. Some of these technologies have been around for decades. Some are relatively new. So I think we all know what those technologies have been around for decades and what they can do, what they can't do. And also these new ones, if you're not sure about what these new technologies are, go out there, find them, learn about them, and ask questions. Educate yourself on what's out there and what's available. All these things will provide the area for your process. Again, knowing your process and knowing which of these technologies meet your needs, not just for today, but of course in the future. what integration that you might want to do is important as well. Again, we talked about visiting trade shows and seminars, things such as this, but also regional trade shows near you. So maybe you can see and talk to people face to face about the equipment and also other operators and their experiences. Again, put together a plan, establish which is most important to you, which is most important for your process. Is it tradition? Is it performance? Is it efficiency? And make sure that your specification and what you're writing and going out for bids matches what your requirements and needs are. I think this is the most important thing, making sure that your specification reflects your project goals. I think if you're able to do your homework, understand which of these elements are most important to you, and get that specification written around the project and the machines that you want to have, I think that in the end, you will find that you will get the machines that you want, and you'll have the best possible outcome that you can ever desire. Okay, so that's all I had for you guys today. Thank you for attending. Here you see a website if you'd like to have more information about the blowers that we offer. And if you have any questions, we're always looking forward to help. So thank you.